The Winnipeg Jets have made multiple moves, including a very interesting one as they have called up one of their top prospects. We're going to break down that exact move and discuss what it means going forward, as well as discuss some other moves and updates we have ahead of tonight's big game. Stay tuned for all that in this episode. But before we get into it, we are proud to announce that this video is brought to you by Rentals.ca, who are proud supporters of Team Canada. And while they've been supporting our national team defend their home court in international competition, they've also been helping thousands of Canadians find their home floor all across the country. And it doesn't matter what city you are in, whether you're in Toronto, whether you're in Vancouver, Montreal, Calgary, Halifax, it does not matter. Winnipeg, Mississauga, Edmonton, Victoria, St. John's, it doesn't matter where you are from coast to coast. Rentals.ca has a ton of options to find the perfect place and price for you.
Their website is clean and easy to use, and you can pinpoint exactly on the map where you want to move, finding all the options in your area. Find your home court with Rentals.ca.
Yeah, check out the website in the pinned comment or the description down below. And shout out to Rentals.ca for supporting our channel, supporting Team Canada, and supporting you guys for finding the best rentals across the country. So thank you guys again. And thank you to Rentals.ca for sponsoring this video. Darius, we have a lot to go over today. There's a lot of things going down surrounding the Winnipeg Jets. They've obviously been scuffling. They've fallen now. They're no longer top in the NHL. The Minnesota Wild have that crown, but they made a big move today, a bit of a statement move to hopefully inject some life into this Winnipeg Jets team, and that is in the form of Brad Lambert. We've discussed him briefly on this channel before, saying, hey, will they maybe call him up? He's been doing good with the Manitoba Moose over the past few games. You see this here. The NHL Jets have recalled forward Brad Lambert from the AHL Manitoba Moose. The Jets have also placed Nikolai Ehlers on the injured reserve retroactive to 4 days ago, or 5 days ago, November 29th, maybe even 6 days ago. But this is interesting now. So I honestly didn't expect this, but they're coming off of a pretty busy month there of November, and now they have some games happening, and they called up Brad Lambert, hopefully to give them some fresh legs, give them some, energy going forward. What are your thoughts on this move? We're going to dive into what it means because we also have the lines for tonight's game. We're seeing his debut tonight. He is playing. We also are going to see him paired with Ville Heinola, which we'll dive into later. But this is an interesting move and a bit of a statement move to hopefully give this team some youth and some energy.
Well, it's very interesting. I mean, Brad Lambert has not had the start of the season that, fans would have hoped for in the Manitoba Moose system, obviously. So I think fans would have wanted him to be maybe in the NHL or looking like he can play in the NHL full time already by this point. But I think you have to be patient with these players sometimes. And just because he's having a bad start to the season doesn't mean he's not going to develop into a good player. This guy has a lot of promise. So I think if you were going to call somebody up, it was probably him. And I think with, putting Ehlers on injury reserve, which he could be back soon, right? We do have actually somewhat of a timetable, and we'll get to that in a second for Ehlers and when he might return, but he's going to be back soon. So for this, small stretch, if you're going to call anybody up, why not Brad Lambert? Just see what he has in the NHL at the NHL level for the next little while. And you know what? It could add some juice to the legs of the guys on the team right now because they haven't been playing well, right? Obviously, like you mentioned off the top, they are no longer first in the NHL. Well, they're right there still, right? And they've had a great start to the season, but they've kind of been sputtering the last couple games. So this could be something that, maybe not a wake-up call per se or anything like that, but a young guy coming into the lineup, you're going to want to play well, you're going to want to play hard, and adding him into the lineup could be pretty dynamic for the Winnipeg Jets. So again, he hasn't had a great start to the season, but this could be very interesting for the Jets.
Yeah, it's exciting now to see what he can do going forward this season because, again, you think about him in the AHL, he's had his struggles for sure. At one point, he was one of the top prospects in the entire league, and then he kind of fell off a little bit, has been playing a lot better as of late. Brad Lambert is probably the most excited player today. He gets to play his second NHL game and is, of course, making his season debut today. For sure, there will be some nerves. When I got the call, I was just excited as I was coming into my first game last year. Super pumped and excited. We played one game last year, and then, of course, got sent back down. But it's I think I'm excited to see how he kind of plays it with the Winnipeg Jets system. I mean, it's a young player. He's getting thrown into a absolutely win-now team. And if he can come out there and, be very good and be the player that we thought he once could be or still can be, I mean, there's a world where he could, he's given the opportunity to potentially, run away with some sort of role. Now, whether that's going to be an everyday role, whether that's going to be in the top two lines like we're seeing tonight, for example, is still up in the air. But when you're looking at, Brad Lambert, it is super exciting. As you look at the lines here, you're seeing Brad Lambert is manning the second line center, and you have Connor Nemestikov, Scheifele, Perfetti. We're going to dive into lines here in a minute, but he's getting the second, he's on the second line tonight, and he's getting really thrown into the fire per se here, which I think is good for a guy like him. Hopefully he can prove everybody right tonight in how good he's going to be.
I think Scheifele still playing the wing instead of center is a little bit worrisome to me personally. But when you look at the rest of the lineup, I mean, Lambert, like you said, has a massive opportunity here tonight. It doesn't matter what you've done so far this season. You're coming up to the NHL squad and put in a really good effort and see what happens, right? Because we know that he has a very high ceiling still. This is still, supposed to be a fantastic player and an everyday NHLer at some point. So I would leave everything at the door, come into this with, fresh mindset, new opportunity. He's going to be playing with Perfetti, so obviously he's going to have some jump. Perfetti hasn't been playing great as of late either, so maybe mixing them two together with Velarde, a guy who has been pretty hot and all season, really, could be an interesting mix. So very interesting lines from Scott Arniel, I will say that. But I think he has a great opportunity here, and I think he has to run away with it. Just forget how the season's gone so far. The fact that you started in the AHL, you have a great opportunity here for the next couple of games to really show something and prove something to himself as well. I think, players are really hard on themselves too. So I think it's a great opportunity for him tonight.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I want to touch on something else referring to the AHL and things of that, in this case, the WHL. But hearing a deal is in place that would see Brayden Yager, of course, the prospect they got back in that big deal for McGrody, sorry, on his way to Lethbridge in a large WHL trade. So, what are your thoughts on this? We're seeing Brayden Yager, obviously Rucker McGrody was the top prospect for the Jets. Didn't want to be here. Got shipped off to Pittsburgh where he's struggling immensely. We're seeing Brayden Yager now get moved to Lethbridge. Doesn't have an impact on, of course, the Winnipeg Jets team, but definitely something here of note. And hopefully he plays well for Lethbridge.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I mean, it's Lethbridge is probably, trying to make a run at it this season. We see this a lot in the WHL and junior leagues too, where a guy gets drafted and then he's with the same team for a little while. In the cycles of junior hockey, the team is not that good anymore, and they'll trade him off for a bunch of assets, and so he can play on a contender. And I think the Jets should be happy about this because he's going to be playing meaningful hockey, even though it is junior hockey. But he's putting together a good season, and he's going to continue to play meaningful hockey and hopefully have a deep playoff run. So it's good news. This guy's a player. He's going to be a Winnipeg Jet, and he's going to be a good one, that's for sure, in a couple of years. So I think this is a good thing if you're a Jets fan, just keeping tabs on him in the WHL. At least he'll be playing some meaningful games and probably going for a championship.
Yeah, great trade, great tidy work by Kevin Cheveldayoff off this offseason. And touch on a couple other things here before I wrap up. So Nikolai Ehlers is out with a lower body injury. Arniel estimates a week to 10 days. So, December 10th, maybe something like that next week. Late next week is the estimated return here for Nikolai Ehlers. And as you look at how the lines I showed it briefly earlier shape up without Nikolai Ehlers, looking a bit more empty, I should say, because you see it, Kyle Connor, Vladimir Nemestikov, Mark Scheifele, and then you have Perfetti, Lambert, Velarde, which could be a very interesting pairing. And again, you have Velarde moved off of the top line. Niederreiter, Lowry, Appleton, still a solid line. And then, of course, the fourth line of Barron, Kapari, and Alex Iafallo. So it's interesting on the forward front. And then regarding the blue line, Morrissey, DeMello, Fleury, Pionk, Stanley, Hanola. So Hanola is getting the pairing with Stanley, with Colin Miller out, and, of course, Coughlin. Anything here that jumps out to you? Of course, the Scheifele not playing center thing. He's clearly dealing with an injury. I figured at some point they were going to put him on the IR and let him just rest. Clearly, it's not going to happen, at least right now or anytime soon. So they're rocking with a Stanley Hanola as well on the third pairing blue line here, which could be an interesting pairing. It's very intriguing to me, especially as these guys were kind of battling for a spot there for a little bit.
One thing that really stands out to me is the fact that Kenton says that they're not actually sure at the time that he tweeted this out who the third and fourth pairings are. I don't think Colin Miller has done anything egregious to make his way out of the lineup, but that being said, logic says that the third pairing is going to be Logan Stanley and Ville Heinola tonight. So I think that's very interesting to keep an eye on if it's not them and they're both scratched, because that would be pretty crazy. I think Heinola's got to get into games and he's got to play to get better, or else if you're not playing, you're not getting better. So he's got to get into the lineup, and I think pairing him with Stanley is very interesting. Stanley has not been playing great, especially since he came back from injury as well. So I think it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. But Colin Miller may lose his spot here, but I think it's just to try something out here with Heinola and Stanley paired together. But I wouldn't change the other two pairings. I think they've been good, minus obviously last game for DeMello and Morrissey.
Yeah, let us know what your thoughts are on that. And Hellebuck gets the big start tonight against the St. Louis Blues. Let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know if you're excited about Brad Lambert's season debut. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.